All right, lads. As I say, why even apologize? This is going to be short and incomplete, but I hope at least a beginning of our journey through Ulysses. And I've read the first few chapters about 6 times, and it was a pleasure to reread them. Uh, if I wish I wish this thing worked. I don't think it does. Yep. Two chapters here. The first, I think you probably read them, right? You get the first one at the tower, at Martello Tower, beginning with Buck Mulligan, and then a lot of conversation through both of these chapters. The second one at Stephen's school. Three things that I would draw attention to that seem to intersect in the persona of Stephen Dedalus are the character as artist, right? Dedalus as artificer is one, and also character as uh, Jesuit as a member of a fallen member of a dominant religion in their culture. And then finally, the this book following a pattern established by Homer in the Odyssey. So I'm going to just jump right through what I think of these. So Daedalus, his name is poked fun at by Buck early on. Daedalus, the perfect name. He calls him Kinch, right? The knife blade. And he is a sharp character is Stephen Dedalus. He broods his way through, particularly the first chapter, and we are to see Dedalus, I believe, as a kind of a distillation of art himself. Right? He's able to create art. You see this metaphor for Irish art, the cracked looking glass of a servant. Again, getting to the fact that Stephen feels second class. He feels not respected, and we see this throughout both of the first chapters. There's so much interior brooding that goes on in this guy, but he is able to create, and we see this, in this simple, powerful line. But we're going to see it through the book, I think, in his ability to process the art of others, particularly Shakespeare, I think, but certainly others, right? Literature matters, and the ability to create, to craft literature is central to the human experience of at least of Stephen Dedalus. And did I put a picture in here? Yeah. So Stephen Dedalus is we're supposed to see him as Joyce. I'm pretty sure. Look at this grim image of Joyce with that nasty mustache. And Dedalus clearly, we should sort of get this out of our mind. Dedalus is younger at the time, right? He's a 20-something, a brilliant 20-something, like you guys, and it doesn't look like this grim character. So anyway, for me, point number one, Daedalus the artificer, as in the father of Icarus. So but Stephen's certainly a son figure, not a father figure. What else we get? Jesuit. We know that Joyce was a lapsed Catholic, and the intelligent Catholics of Ireland, and I think of the U.S. If you look at the great Catholic colleges and universities in the United States, many of them are of the Jesuit order, and we're going to get just endless Christianity throughout this. Even when we turn to Bloom, I think, who's a Jew, we're going to get a lot of imagery of the Catholic Mass, which is what this is, right? This is Buck Mulligan really early on when shaving. He sort of pretends that this bowl he has for shaving is the Eucharistic bowl, and instead of shaving, he's actually transforming the body and blood of Christ. And that's what we get here, right? The genuine Christine. And you notice that my favorite word in here is the owns, body and soul and blood, and owns, which I think means guts. So this is just really dangerous apostasy from Buck. If somebody heard this, he would be crucified in a Catholic community for making such fun of the Eucharistic moment in the Mass, right? And he treats it like a carnival trick. Shut your eyes, gents. One moment, a little trouble with these white corpuscles, suggesting that it's a little slow making these corpuscles into the body and blood of Christ. So, oh my God, this is just, he opens this door to this novel with a slam. Okay, so Jesuit, we got anything more to say about this? Oh, well, Stephen, right? Stephen is the Jejune Jesuit. He is the fearful Jesuit. So Buck considers him a Jesuit, but in fact, in a defining moment, that was made reference to in the first chapter, Stephen's mom is dead, and her last wish is that she pray with him, and he refuses. Which, God, putting principles above humanity, in my estimation, and in an awful way. So okay, so we got an artificer, we've got Jesuit, and then finally, the role of Homer in this, and I quote here not Stephen, but again, the voluble Buck Mulligan, taking the language, the Homeric epithet, and transforming it, the snot green sea, the scrotum tightening sea, Daedalus, the Greeks. Well, in my 600-page guide to how to read Ulysses, much is made of the parallels between Ulysses and the Odyssey. And if this is the case, then clearly Daedalus is Telemachus, and what we're getting early in this book, a 12-chapter book rather than a 24-chapter book that we get in the Odyssey. But what we get in the first two chapters are sort of telemachiad, right? The story of the sun. And again, we know that it's loosely constructed. Stephen's not Leopold Bloom's son, but he is a son, and he plays the role of the son who is somewhat adrift. And you'll remember, Telemachus in the opening book of the Odyssey is at home, and the suitors are threatening his mother, demanding that she marry one of them, that she select one of them. And Telemachus, inspired by this and horrified by this, goes on this 3-book journey, right, where he goes down to see Menelaus and hears of his father, and hears that he doesn't hear that his father is dead, right? He travels around and he gets no definitive news, but he realizes that Athena is supporting him, and all this stuff goes on. And I think that we're supposed to see reflections, mirrorings of this in these first 2 chapters, but we don't get there's no direct linkage, I don't think. And I'm interested to hear what you guys make of the notes that are so endless about this novel, and how each chapter has, for example, predominant color imagery and other imagery, and also the alignment with the Odyssey. So that's all I got. What I haven't gotten to is the second chapter, which takes place in the school where Stephen is a teacher. And man, for me sometimes it's hard to distinguish the exterior from the interior monologue. I was just checking it out online. There's a lot of copies of the text online, but we see Stephen interact with this guy. First, he interacts with some schoolboys who, to him, are both beautiful and horrific. At one point, he says to his boss, DC, he says, the sound of God is, and he motions outside the window. The sound of God are these children playing field hockey outside the window. Anyway, I guess I won't say that much about that, except in the conversation Daedalus has with DC, oh my God, I guess it's still quite a bit ahead of me. You hear Stephen talk out loud to DC in a sort of barely respectful way, but the interior monologue that we hear from Stephen is much more deep and troubling, and questioning, I guess I would say. I'm still not there. All right, that's what I got. That's chapters 1 and 2 from my limited perspective, and I'm up for reading this book, and I'm psyched to hear what you have to say, and I hope that you'll do a better job in your way than I am doing in mine.